What's up, guys? I hope everyone is doing well this evening. Tonight, I'm going to bring you a mass amount of Dogman encounters, and I'm going to start the show off with a subscriber submission. Hey, Jeff. This is name redacted. I wanted to tell you that, first, I really enjoy your narrations. My story is not very grandiose, but it is spooky. I've been a believer in the supernatural and cryptid since I was a child. I am now 38 years old and have seen a lot of weird shit in my life. One encounter I had happened while I was in the army, stationed in Germany in 2006. I lived off post in this small village called Wallerstaden. This village was within a mile or two of the other two small towns, Budelborn and Grasguru, all surrounded by patchy woods and farmland as far as the eye could see, kind of like Michigan. I was late coming home one evening and I was trying to hurry. I needed to let my dog out, so I'm cruising down the road between Grasguru and Wallerstaden. It's dark already, and I mean country dark, no light, no moon. I get to just past the middle and I see a very large figure to my left. I saw the back of it, hell, I almost hit it. I couldn't believe my eyes. Instantly I thought werewolf. It was massive. Its hips had to have been 4 feet off the ground. I'm pretty sure it was at least 7 feet tall, very broad shoulders, canine legs on the bottom half of its body, and a bushy tail. Light brown hair and color. I passed it by and it just casually walked off the road into the field next to the road. In any case, it scared the crap out of me, and understand this was less than a half a mile from my house. So I raced home, jumped out of my car, grabbed my stuff, and walked very quickly and quietly to my house, listening for any sounds. At 9 p.m., the town shuts down, only a couple of street lamps, and not one on my block. So I get inside, turn on all my lights, and let my dog out of his kennel and realize, crap, I need to let my dog out. My dog was a really big lab, Mickey. He weighed 125 pounds. He was in top form in those days, and as bad as he needed to pee, he didn't want to go out. I opened the door to silence, and he just looked at me like, no way, dude. So I went out, and he followed. He went down the steps and went to the flower pot and was standing there. Normally, he would just charge down the yard, so about the time he was done, I started to smell a foul odor, and many people describe piss and bad meat. There's a horse stable within 100 yards of my house, and it overpowered that smell. Not to mention those horses are completely quiet. Very unusual for them. Anyways, as soon as I smelled that foul odor, Mickey and I moved back into the house very quickly. The whole time I was out there, the hairs on my neck were at attention. I knew we were being watched. Luckily, all my exterior window shades were down already on the lower level, so nothing could look in. I could hear heavy breathing and noises for about an hour or so after we came in. Mickey and I just sat there listening, and eventually the sound stopped, or I fell asleep. It stayed weird around there for about 3 weeks, but that was the only encounter I had. I tried to talk to my landlord, who lived across the street, about it, but he said we don't speak of this, and that was that. Thanks for the encounter. I really appreciate it. Now it goes to show that dogmen are all over. We just did a dogman encounter in Devon, England, and now we're in Germany. This account comes from 2 men in Redland, California, back in 2009. According to the pair, the sighting happened during the previous winter when they decided to explore a lake they had discovered. The men spotted enormous footprints in the muddy ground recently softened by the rain. The impressions were nearly 2 feet long. The distance between them suggested whatever left them had a stride exceeding the gait of one of the men, who was 6.5 feet tall. Curious, they followed the footprints for some distance, but soon lost the trail. One of the men decided to return another time, despite the area being terrifying, according to the other. As he neared the spot where they saw the prints, he saw a tall, humanoid figure on the road. The pair returned the next day in search of the mysterious figure. After examining the location where it stood, they quickly realized that it was even taller than he had first thought. At that point, one of the men was shocked to see something standing in the field nearby. While it appeared to be a tall man, the body was completely covered with brown hair, and its face resembled a German shepherd. The pair hightailed it out of the area. The two estimated the size of the creature was approximately 7 to 8 feet tall, with broad chest, muscular physique, pointed ears, and a canine-like head. Here is the original report of this Dogman encounter. This is the true story of a canine creature, my friend of mine, and I believe we discovered or rediscovered. It started, I suppose, last winter. Being in a particularly dry area of Southern California, it was to my great surprise when a friend of mine and I discovered a sizable lake just over a small ridge on a well-traveled road in our area. We began exploration of the area, aided by Google Earth, which revealed a large number of lakes in the same vicinity. The lakes, as I was later to discover, were really a part of the valley's flood-controlled system and hold water for much of the year. During one of our explorations, we found something out of place. It was February, I believe, and after the rainy season. The grass had grown pretty tall on the ridge overlooking the first lake we had found. On this ridge, we found a trail of very large footprints. These prints were approaching 2 feet in length, with a very long stride, longer than that of my friend, who was 6'6". We followed these prints for a good quarter of a mile before they disappeared in the chaparral. From then on, we dubbed the creature the lake ape, and made many subsequent searches to no avail, besides the discovery of several more lakes. He decided to drive down the new side of the road alone one night. What made him do it, I don't know. That road is terrifying at night. He was nearing the first of the terraced hills when the figure crossed the road in front of him. He described it as tall, dark, humanoid, climbed a 5 to 6 foot berm on the side of the road and disappeared in the direction of the hill. We returned to the area the next day, and I reenacted the scene. From this, he determined that the creature must have been much taller than even he was to have looked at. I have to admit, I didn't believe him at first and thought he was just making it up. The following took place in the space of about 2 minutes. While looking up at the trees, I noticed something much closer to us standing in the field on the other side of the berm. My thought process was actually quite comical. I first dismissed it as a bush, then kept on looking up the trees. I glanced at it again and then thought it was a very, very tall man. Then I looked at it a little longer and realized that it was covered in brown hair. And rather than the Sasquatch-like creature I would have expected, it had a dog-like head, most comparable to a German shepherd. I asked my friend, "Are you seeing this?" And he said, "You mean the figure over there?" There was a moment of silence in which the creature walked off to the left, to an area where the berm was too high to see over. It disappeared. I believe we both shouted, "Oh shit," and sped off. From then on, Lake 8 became Dogman. Both of our accounts of the creature match up. We agree that it was 7 to 8 feet tall, was covered in brown fur, had a wide chest and muscular physique, body more akin to a man than Sasquatch is reported to be, had a canine-like head closely resembling a German Shepherd or other wolf-like dog with large pointed ears.